I am paging Dr. Chanda.
I am the
Dr. Chanda.
And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Paging Dr. Chanda podcast, all things related to the Black culture.
Revolt. The doctor in front of your name.
What's up, family? It is Dr. Chanda. Tune in for another episode of Paging Dr. Chanda. All you have to do is keep watching. But listen, if you're just watching from the outside, just peeking through the window, I need you to commit. Come all the way in the house, and I need you to subscribe, like, and shoot me a comment in the comment section. I love responding to all of your comments. I love listening and reading how much you guys enjoy the topics that I'm talking about. So yeah, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and join the tribe. Stop scrolling for 1 second. This month, we are bringing back the psychology of Black women, the online class brought to you by yours truly, Dr. Chanda, licensed clinical psychologist. Y'all, I've been getting so many questions about why anxiety and depression presents differently in Black women. What do we do about it? How can we start to combat this? And what are some of the reasonings behind it? Listen, if you are a Black woman who has questions about anxiety and depression, it's something you experience or something your loved ones experience, or if you're a professional who works with Black women who experience anxiety and depression, I promise you this class is for you. Make sure that you sign up today. Dr. Spirit, how are you?
What's good, girl? What's good? Okay, wait. So do we have to do the doctor thing? And should I call you Dr. Chandra? Like
Whatever you want to call me.
Look, sis, because
Right, sis.
unless I'm in like the research room or something really technical, but this is just us having some good conversation today.
Okay. And I do believe in titles. So I know I met you through Auntie Shanti. So I call her Auntie. So do you mind if I call you Auntie Spirit?
Listen, I became Auntie apparently somewhere during COVID. And at first I was like, I ain't nobody's. And then I started to do the math and I was like, girl, you got a kid that's like 26. Let it go. And then I was like, okay, I received that. Because at first I was like, what did you?
Right.
Okay, well, you ain't called me mama or grandma, so we'll work with Auntie as long as I get to be like the cool younger, it's like your mom's little sis that always gets in trouble, and you be like, "Don't tell your mama I took you here. Don't tell her I showed you this." That's the Auntie that I am.
That's the Auntie. Okay, but
but I don't have no money, so don't ask me. Don't be like, "Yo, Auntie, can I hope?" Because I don't.
But if it makes you feel any better, they call me Auntie on TikTok. So.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, am I a part of the older generation of TikTok?
I guess it just depends on the platform, right? I mean, yes. And I will wear that with pride because I honestly, I wouldn't go back. It's hard to be when they talk about, I actually saw some data earlier this week and I was like, yep, that makes perfect sense. But they were saying like 18 to 25-year-olds, that they have double the rates of anxiety and depression as most other groups. And so I thought about where I was from 18 to 25, and I was like, you couldn't pay me to go back to that time period.
Wow.
It is too hard because you were competing with all the other adults that are twice your age, have all the network, all the money, all the education, and you out here just trying to make it work.
Right.
God bless y'all.
Yes. Right. Those are
Stay with us. It'll get better.
Right. Exactly. So I'm here for it. And so I definitely appreciate you for coming through the podcast. Your knowledge and your expertise is just so well respected globally.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about like some of the things you've been doing and some of the impacts that you've been making?
Yeah. And you know what? I think it just comes along with the territory, right? We're talking about age. When you do this long enough, I think what it gives you is the ability to see things that perhaps other people can't see. So I never intended for it to become like a global way of looking at mental health. I was just wanting to stick with my little handful of small 10 clients and just like let that be the thing. But then after I started to look and go, oh, well, in order for these folks to be better served, we need this system to work better. Yeah. And that system is only going to work better if that system works. And so, but that system can't work because it's all interconnected. And so I went from really that local to the state, to the national, to the global. And what we're talking about really is that we are, especially now with technology and everything else, we are so interconnected that we really have to start talking about that everything begins and ends with mental health. And if we don't have the systems, the global systems focus on the mental health and wellness of the individual, it's all going to collapse on itself. Right. So to that effect, I still see clients in private practice. I still do that intergenerational trauma work, the couples work, because I am big about how one individual connects to the next. So still at that micro level doing that work, but all the way at the top, we're really talking to governments about the importance of mental health and wellness. A lot of the global initiatives now are challenging the federal systems to look at investing at least 2.5% to 5%, depending on how big their nations are, investing 2.5% to 5% of their budgets towards mental health, their healthcare budgets. And so I am out there screaming at the top of my lungs, not just this needs to happen, but all right, let's bring everybody to the table. How can we make this happen? Right? Because if you have people do things against their will, one, it's never going to work. And two, even if you can coerce them or get them to for a limited amount of time, as soon as they can, they're looking at reverting right back to the old way. So it is, how do you get people to see that this is not just in the best interest of those they serve, but also in their best interest too? So we're out there at every level screaming about the importance of mental health and how we make it better.
And you were recently, I know this year I saw some stuff about being in Africa and doing some work out there.
Yeah. We're working on 2 of our macro programs. We're working on a global mental health documentary because the World Health Organization and the United Nations have some very serious agendas around the importance of magnifying mental health messages. So from the media aspect, we really want to serve as a great media partner in that space. So we're working on a documentary to tell that story around the world. And then also we are working on a mental health repository that will give clinicians the ability to network, to train, to support each other across borders. And so to meet those agendas, we were in Ghana, Accra, Ghana, and some other parts of Ghana earlier this summer, and also in Liberia. And it was fascinating. And so as we started to have those relationships, that's where we were like, Madam Vice President, sir, can we talk to the president about mental health? And what I have found that is so amazing is people have been so receptive, and they've said at every level, whether it's been at those highest levels to even just the mom trying to find water for her and her babies all day long. And sometimes it literally takes all day long to just achieve that goal, to talk about mental health, and everybody go, yeah, I never thought of, we need to do something. Let's have that conversation. So it's incredible. And I can't wait. We're talking about Canada, Singapore, and I think the team said somewhere in South America next year. But in an ideal situation, we'll touch every nation, because every nation deserves to have their voice heard in that global conversation for sure. We don't want it to be our voice. We want to magnify the voices of the people. So, and have that voice heard across nations. So, I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to be tapping all my therapists, ma'am, to come on some of these trips. So y'all, when you get those invitations in the mail, don't act like you don't know me, because I beg.
Look, I will hop on a flight in a heartbeat. So
I am so serious. Listen, I'm already talking to the folks in Liberia seriously about developing some long-term programs there. So, mess around. I'm going to play this back. I'm be like, she said that she would go for 6 months. She did. And she'd be like, what I said was, okay, I'm on the plane. How did Spirit do that?
I love it. Look, whatever you need, I'm 100% there.
I love it.
Yes. I just want to be like you when I grow up.
Oh, girl, listen, you already are. And you don't need to be another me because your lane is beautiful and perfect. You are doing exactly
Thank
what you were
you.
supposed to be doing, exactly for the folks you are supposed to be serving. And as we spread these little tiny fires, eventually we will
Yeah.
have a wildfire and it will affect the world. And that is how it's supposed to be.
That's how
That is
community
it.
works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We don't
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be me. I'd be like, let me give you everything I got and you take that to figure out how to do the best you. But now I need you to give me something too, because help
Right.
me, right? Because I
Right.
mean, listen, it's the young folks that keep me on. I'd be like, oh, okay, so we're not saying it's lit no more. Oh no. Okay, so they what? They jocked your fresh? Hold on. Let Auntie get they know. Jocked your fresh. Okay. Oh, okay, I got you. That's like it was Superfly, right? Okay, so okay, we doing the millennial, the zennial, and now y'all. Oh, don't forget the silent generation. Okay, got us. Got us.
Well, I still say
That's
lit,
how it
so I don't
works.
know.
Girl, you might want to be careful. I don't know. You can only say that to a couple of them. They got some
That
new stuff out here in these streets for us.
yeah, that might be it.
Hmm.
Anytime one of my kids who I work with, they like try to get me hip to some new slang. I'm like, I already knew that. I already knew that. And the whole time I'm lying. I didn't know that.
Didn't know it all. Didn't know it
Right.
all. Well, see, I get a little lucky. I have 7 children, right? And so at the top,
Wow.
my oldest is 26, but then I have a 22, I have an 18 who's about to be 19. I have a 14, just turned 14, as a matter of fact, then 12, 7, and 5. So I figure I'm gonna be in the game
Amazing.
for a minute. I'm gonna be lit, fly, jocking somebody fresh, and everything in between for about 18 more years, right? But then I will look like grandma at the graduation. I've already accepted that's what it is, right? Because when my 5-year-old is graduating, they'll be like, "Oh, is your grandbaby here today?" And I'm gonna be like, "No, I'm the mama. It is what it is."
I
And
love
I
it.
will take it all. I love every part of it. Every
Yes.
part of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
So as we're talking about this, and I just have so many like more questions for you, but I feel like I can just ask
Hmm.
that when we have coffee. Um
I love it.
but as we're talking about like family and like being that
Hmm.
today we're kind of like focusing on the holiday season, being that we're in this season of like people talking to
Hmm.
their families and stuff, and going back home. Do you have any
Hmm.
specific holiday traditions that you and your family engage in?
Listen, it's so interesting, especially you talk about this time of year. I love to say for so many people, this is the most triggering time of year
Mm.
for a lot of different reasons. So growing up, I'm the oldest of 3 children. My parents were really young parents. Like they had
Mm.
me, literally, my mom had me the day after she turned 17. So in some ways, like I literally grew up with my parents, but it was always very clear that they were the parents. Okay. Like there was never,
They
I'm not
didn't
one of
play.
your little friends.
Right.
My mama invented that. Okay. And I was always like, but my friends love you. Come to the mall. No, she wasn't doing it. So, but they were really big about tradition, but tradition was never really rooted around finances,
Mhm.
right? So we were really big on, we knew that it was about the entire experience. My dad would literally do things like he was the dad, I kid you not. He would dress up like Santa Claus because we was gonna have us a black Santa Claus. He was not gonna
Period.
let Santa take credit and did not look like him. That was not happening. But
Right.
he loved Christmas so much, he would literally climb up on the rooftop at night on Christmas Eve to make the sounds like the reindeer and all of that. And it was
Aw,
just magical. We always knew no matter how hard they worked, because we were working class folks. They were always at work. But we always knew that the entire Christmas day we were going to be together. So we'd get up super early, we'd open up the
love it.
presents. I don't know how they figured out being that young, how to get us those amazing presents that they did. But it was never really about the presents. It was just that the music was on all day, the cooking
Yeah.
was happening all day, the toys were happening, and we were just together. So like that sense of family has always been really, really big for me. I mean, hence I got 7 kids, right? So but it's hard. It's harder to get everybody together during the holidays. But I
Yeah.
think that tradition has stayed with me, that more than the gifts, once the
Mm,
gifts get undone, you'll take 7 minutes to unwrap $1 million worth of gifts. But
right.
afterwards, that collectiveness, that togetherness, like that was everything.
That's amazing. And it's so interesting how like, even though you say your parents were young, They had like children or what have you. Like they still made it work.
Yes.
Like they created those traditions, and it's you still hold true to that.
Yes. And listen, my parents are still together to this day, and I don't know how they did any of it. I don't know how they had me. Every year on my birthday, I always say to my mom and my dad, "Thank you for having me. Thank you for choosing me, because I don't know at 16 if I would have made the same decision," right? So just the blessing of existence. But the idea that they always tried to figure it out. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty all the time. It was none of that, but they figured it out. And so I think, when we talk about what family means, when we talk about what it means to be around family, when we talk about holidays, you have all of those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that come together in this really triggering way, because it's your past, present, and your future staring you in the face at a time where we're all supposed to pretend that the only thing that exists in the moment is just the good. So it's very interesting how it comes together.
Okay, so let's stay there. Because during the holidays, people are going to be around those family members who they might not get along with. The family member who shouldn't be around the family anymore, but
Real
Big
talk.
Mama and them said they gotta still come around.
They coming.
They coming, and we have to kind of like sometimes we gotta accept it. We have to prepare for it or set certain boundaries. Yeah.
So I'm really big, and this is hard, especially in not just Black families, but families of color, period. So whether you're First People or part of First Nations, whether you're Asian American, whether you are Hispanic or Latino, depending on how your family customs go, a lot of times there is a lot of pressure and an expectation for you to abandon your own comfort and your own need in order to fit the need of the family system. And so that's very hard because, especially as mental health professionals, we come from a very westernized training. It is a very individualized training. And so what we are taught is what is good for the individual 1000% of the time. But what our profession doesn't really do a really good job of, as much as I wish that we would, is the grapple between how unrealistic that is for many groups, because what is good for us also is community. And so there is a grapple that needs to happen with, well, my family is toxic AF, but I don't necessarily want to be away from my family, right? Yes, there is the brother who goes in and out of jail. Yes, there is the uncle that probably may have some substance issues that's going to drink till nobody's business and we don't know why, but the folks at the top know why, but the family secrets, nobody's talking about it. And this is my family, and I'm only going to be able to tolerate it for maybe 20 minutes before I'm so triggered, I got to go sit out in the car, or I got to go in the room, or a fight's going to break out, or all of these things, right? And so a lot of us will just say, so don't go. And the person will go, well, what do you mean? Like, I got to? Do you know what's going to happen if I don't? And then they get there and then they go, man, I should have just listened to my therapist. I shouldn't have come. I'm not coming next year, until next year rolls around and it's the same struggle over and over. Right. So it's a lot that's going on. And I think we have to honor that. And we have to do a better job, especially as clinicians, of helping our clients prepare for that. That sometimes it's about almost like what we use for substance abuse models, the risk reduction model, where it's like you may not necessarily go complete sobriety, i.e., you may not separate yourself from your family completely. So what are some risk reduction methods to limit harm so you can interact to the level that you need or want to, but also take care of yourself in the process?
Whew. Listen.
And it's a different way of thinking about risk reduction. We don't think about it within those ways, but I think that that's part of the work that we need to do as clinicians too, is challenge ourselves to take more contemporary approaches and reimagine how we see what our founding folks, and I won't even say the founding fathers, because the sisters and the mamas get left out of that, and we was in there too, right?
We were there too.
But what our founding folks gave us as a framework, it's time for us to reimagine that and not forget that we are the experts, that the work is living, breathing, and we have to live and breathe and grow with it so that our clients can live and breathe and grow and thrive beyond where we are.
That's so good, Dr. Spirit. And can you talk to us more about like the analyzing the risk reduction piece? Because I've never heard of that. People come to us all the time talking about, it's the holiday season. I don't know what to do with our families. And you're right. Like we're encouraged to go back to what we were taught. Like, okay, just remove yourself from it, set these boundaries. But I've never heard of your perspective. Can you enlighten us more on that?
So it's interesting, right? So I look at a lot of times what are some of the common complexities in family dynamics when family gets together. Usually it's family secrets, usually it's unresolved conflicts, like there are some really big ones. So we look at those things. If my brother and I haven't spoken for 10 years, but then I hear that he's coming to the party and I have to decide him or me because my mom is not going to choose between us, which still makes me feel like she's choosing him. So now I'm mad at my mama and now I have a problem with my brother and we still got to figure out how to navigate and everybody else is happy. How do I feel about my family?
Wow.
And how does that affect me? Am I further wounded because them embracing him makes me feel like they are rejecting me? Right. And so then we have to start talking about what that looks like. First, what kind of boundaries do you want to have with your brother? How do you want to manage the triggers that you may be experiencing in your body? Where will you draw the boundary as this is how much I will expose myself to in this dynamic and then I need to leave? What coping strategies do you need to have in place? I.e., do you need to have a hotel room nearby? Do you need to know where the grocery store is nearby? Do you need to have your Lyft or your Uber on deck because you drove with your sister and your sister gonna be like, no, we're not leaving, or she's too liquored up to drive you, right? So we talk about what are some of the things that may be likely to happen and how do you want to feel and what do you want to do in that experience if it does? So how do we empower you, right? Sexual abuse is another one that people will not talk about, and it's a major one, right? When you think about 1 in 4 girls being sexually abused before the age of 18, 1 in 7 boys, the likelihood, and 90% of the people know their abusers, you're likely to see the person that sexually abused you in the house, at the party. Come on, being hugged by the people that you love. And maybe you've tried to have those conversations with people and they've silenced you, or they haven't supported you, or they invited the person here. They want you to hang out with the person. Maybe you have children now and you're concerned about your children engaging that person and you don't know how to deal with that dynamic. Maybe you and your mother are on the outs, or maybe you have recently lost somebody. Oh my goodness, when we talk about those first holidays, when the matriarch or the patriarch is missing, and how do we show up and try to find the traditions, like all of these things that just brew and swell, and it's so easy for them to be escalated during the holidays because everybody tells us that we're supposed to feel a certain way and behave a certain way. We won't even get into just the financial stress of the holidays. Most people can't afford to even put enough gas in their tank to drive to wherever they have to go, much less a plane ticket or some presents. I can't even get the presents for the people in my house, but you need me to get presents for you and you and you, and you're going to judge the type of present that I give you. And my credit is going to be maxed. My bills aren't paid, but I got to look like I got it all together. Y'all didn't help me. You didn't even loan me the $500 for rent when I needed you. But now you want some Louis Vuitton something over here.
Come on.
Right. You want the Burberry. Like what's good. Right. And I feel pressure to give it to you so I look like I'm doing well because you're going to project or talk about me if I don't meet your expectation instead of you being empathetic to my reality. So we got like all of this happening like a pressure cooker during the holidays. And then we wonder why people are mad or sad or depressed or drinking or doing anything else they can to survive this time.
Yes.
So we got to get real about what the holidays are to people. We really do.
Yes. The reality is, like, we never know all of the different pressures that people might be experiencing. And I think you just did a great job of highlighting all those, like we have financial stressors, family stressors, time related stressors, like all those different things coming together in a
wait. How about the big one though? The poor boundaries, right? Because see, your family think they have the right to talk to you and about you and be in your business and give you the read and think that you owe them the answer to whatever question they want to know. You can walk in just as happy as you are, and they go, "Oh, you done got fat? Oh, shit, look at her. Okay. No, you might want to put some of that down. You don't need to be, girl. When you gonna have a man? Like, are y'all gonna have a baby? Like, what is the? And feel entitled, and will put you on blast like your business is family business. And in some families, you have actually been conditioned to believe that your business is family business on display and everybody has access. So you start having anxiety before you even get there because you already know, I know they're going to ask me that. Man, I don't even know how I'm supposed to, what am I supposed to, my stomach is hurting. I can't sleep, man. I've been having headaches. And then you don't even recognize that that's mental health issues. You don't even recognize that you're dealing with acute stress disorder. You don't even realize when you come back, you're dealing with or being subjected to post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, you don't realize your anxiety or depression is through the roof because you don't even recognize those to be mental health symptoms, right? Yeah. So it's so much that's going on constantly. And then there's so much pressure, and we don't even realize that the system is really acting upon us because these are man-made holidays.
Yes.
These are people they have designated, like capitalism has just told us, we're going to make you spend $1 million this month, and this month, and make you act like family is everything. And we're going to shut down and let y'all have all of that. And then we're going to sit back and rake all of this money in. Let's see what we can do.
Oh, my goodness.
Girl, without realizing it's just a day. It's just a day.
Literally just a day. Going back to what you were saying, because you literally hit the nail on the head when discussing like the intrusiveness sometimes of family members. And a lot of times that comes from, again, like you know, in childhood, you might have had a certain role in your family, right? So every family member has a specific role, and they're still expecting you to function in that same role when you come home every holiday. They still see you as, you know, that's just little pumpkin,
the little kid, they'd be like, you know, I'm not 9 years old anymore, right? You know, yeah, for sure. Right. Or you may feed into that, and you don't even realize that you do it unless you bring somebody else home with you that's a friend or somebody that you're dating, and they go, "Ooh, you become like a little kid in front of your family." And you're like, "What you talking about? No, I don't. I'm grown." Okay, are you grown? Okay, go tell your mama no. I ain't gonna tell her no. You go tell her no. Can you ask her for me? Okay, there we go. Right? Because we haven't learned how to meet each other, and our families, especially the older generations, have not learned and also believe that it's disrespectful for us to show up as adults. So they never learn how to transition. Yes, you are still my parent, but you are not parenting me any longer. And our relationship now is as two adults. And our parents oftentimes never meet the adult that we are. They just see us as their kid. They'll even come to our own houses and treat us like children in our houses that they don't pay no bills for. Okay. And we will let them. Right. It's just the way it works if we don't get it together.
Yeah. So how can we empower people when they do go back home and they're around their families and they feel like they're, you know, my family still sees me as this child. I can't set boundaries without it seeming as disrespectful to the elders.
Yeah. Well, I like to teach people that they can recover from feeling disrespected. And sometimes they can recover, and we can have a conversation that will change that. So a little temporary discomfort by holding a boundary, you will feel so much better dealing with them feeling disrespected than you will feel the rest of the year about you feeling how you feel about having betrayed yourself.
That's good.
Right. And so you have to pick your poison oftentimes. If part of your risk reduction says I'm going, okay, so if I'm going, what do I absolutely not want to experience as my deal breaker? Okay, I don't want to feel like I betrayed myself. I don't want to feel like I bit my tongue when they stepped on that button again. So it's how do we handle those things so that all right, I know they're going to do that and I know they're going to do that and I can even deal with that even though that works my nerves. But I am not going to tolerate this. And they're going to know. And even if sometimes the deal breaker just says, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, because it doesn't matter. You don't have to get rah-rah. You don't have to go in on nobody. You don't have to actually be disrespectful, right? You just simply have to assert a boundary to say, we're not going to talk about that today. Right. Period. Or let me tell you what's off limits, or you're choosing to invite that person and it's your house and I can't tell you who to have at your house. I'm fine with that, but please don't expect me to hold a conversation. Right.
That's good.
If they attempt to, because see, sometimes, especially as parents, the hard part about parents, they just want their kids to get along.
Yeah.
Come on, say hi to your brother. You can look and walk right on away. Just because they're asking you to or volunteering you to, don't mean that you have to RSVP and show up for that invitation.
Yeah.
You are completely in control of yourself. And sometimes with consistency, you have to teach people that you don't live there anymore.
Yes.
Right. I'm not my 20-year-old self anymore. I know, Mom, I know that you would really like for us to be able to get along, but that's just not going to be possible. Doesn't change my love for you, doesn't change my love for this family, but he and I will never have a relationship. And then you just kind of have to hold firm to that. You don't have to give explanation. You don't have to debate. You don't have to argue. Girl, when y'all gonna have some kids? I'm waiting. You're not gonna make me a grandma. If I choose to have kids and when I become pregnant and decide to tell you, you will know. Well, I'm just saying, they can say whatever they want to. You do not have to engage. And so I love to tell my clients, everything requires two things, your presence and your participation.
Yeah.
You can remove one or both anytime you choose to. So how do you stay connected to yourself, even while you're interconnected with your family? How do you stay connected with yourself? Because your number one job during the holiday and every day before and after is to take care of you. And anytime you are not feeling good in your body, you don't even have to know what the name of it is. You don't have to know the feeling. You don't even have to know the thought. You just have to know this ain't working for me. I don't like how this is flowing.
Right.
Remove your presence or your participation. Withdraw. No understanding, no agreement, no debate, no argument, no dissertation, no nothing. Withdraw.
Yeah.
Leave them to think whatever they're going to think. Because I always tell people also, do not try to argue or explain to a made up mind. They already know what it is. You are not moving that wall. You are not moving that wall, right? There's nothing we need to say. You think whatever you want to think.
Right.
I'm going to be right on over here. Tell whatever story you need to tell. I'm still going to be living my best life right over here. But now if you want access to me, if you want my presence, if you want my participation, then you're going to have to move that boundary to meet mine. Right? We both got to be okay. And if we can't, don't worry about it. I don't need you to do anything. I can take care of me. That's it. We just got to be willing to take care of ourselves. We got to be willing. And that's the hard part, because we've learned to sacrifice ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, and you probably have this too. Depending on the culture, I literally meet clients, and by culture, that's language, nation of origin, gender, age, everything that goes into culture. But I literally have clients who have learned your life is not yours. Your career choices are not yours. Your body is not yours. Your existence is not yours. It is part of the more collective. And so I don't care how you think. I don't care how you feel. This is what you're going to do. And then I always have to remind clients. So if that's a true thing, where does the rung stop? Who got to decide for you what your assignment was going to be? And if it's your parent, then where did they get to become the authority? Because who's the authority over them? And are they telling you something that was divinely passed down? Or are they telling you what they want and expect for you? And then how do they get to be the judge and jury over what it is that you're supposed to do? Like, really open that up, because we don't have to accept other people's expectations for us. We don't have to accept the script that's been written, because then you can always ask the question, well, who was the author? And if that's the author, because they'll always say, well, it's divine, it's God, it's Jesus, it's Muhammad, it's Buddha. Well, then why he talking to you and not to me? If that's my father, we can have a conversation. He have that conversation. My father, he made me, right? He know exactly what I need. He can talk directly to me. So you married? That's who you are, because you telling me you got the blueprint. They gave it to you, but not to me, the person that's supposed to act out the assignment and complete it. I'll wait on it, mama. All I'm gonna get is a confirmation or the refute. Period. And leave it alone.
Period.
Yes.
I feel like you over here giving us a whole master class on how to survive the holidays. And it's so good right now.
It's not easy, but it's necessary.
Yes.
And what I will tell you oftentimes is that it gets worse before it gets better. But if you're committed to the better, don't be afraid of it getting worse. People often are used to you playing your role, and it can be disconcerting when you switch it up. So what I love to tell folks, even in my own family, don't be afraid to let people know you're switching it up, right? Because you can say, I know it's different. I switched it up. I know it's not even you, it's me. Like I said, I don't live there no more. So this is how you can expect me to show up from now on.
That part.
And then because when you're not behaving how they're used to, what did you say? I said, I know you're used to me saying you're not, it's not all in your head. I switched it up. I moved the boundary. Right. And notice, I didn't say, I'm not asking for permission. I'm not like, is it okay? Are you all right? I'm not apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry. No. I switched the boundary. This is what you can expect when you see me now.
Yeah.
And you consistently live there. What they're going to do is, because what systems do is they just like to find their equilibrium, even if it's toxic. So they'll try to push on you to get you to go back to the old way. So in the beginning, especially with a family, that whole group thing, that whole peer pressure thing becomes real. Oh, you done switched it up, huh? Oh, you think you're cute now, huh? Oh, she better than that. Look. Oh, little Miss Ma'am, she done went to DC and now she cute, huh? Oh, so our way. Oh, how I used to cook for. Oh, you don't eat that no more. Oh, but you grew up on. Oh, so what you trying to say about my thing? I'm not trying to say nothing about your thing. I loved your thing, and it got me to exactly where I am. And now I can do a new way for me because this is what I need. This is where I live. Try it, or you can eat yours. I'm good right here.
It's right? The gentle read. It's the gentle read.
It's the gentle. But it's not even the read, I love to say, it's the gentle narration. Right? I'm narrating my autobiography for you as an invitation for you to continue to be a part of my world, because we're family and I want to be close to you. But in order for me to really be close to you, if you really want the real me and not the version of me that you have in your head, because I didn't come to act. So which one do you really want? And then now let's have that conversation, because you don't really want to have that one. So who do you want me to be? Do you want me to really be me? Or do you want me to be the version of me that you want? And if you want that one, then how about this? I'll be quiet and then you tell me what I say and then I'll just repeat it back to you. Or you tell me what to do, show it to me, and then I'll just act for you. Now you're just being silly. No, I'm just saying I'm cool with doing me. But if you want me to do you or do me your way, tell me what the way is. I don't feel like doing that either. This is where I live now. I love you. You can come visit whenever you want to, as long as you act right in my space. Right? It's just gentle love. And that's how we heal forward. That's how we heal forward. And some people won't heal with you. Some people won't go with you. Some people won't like it. But that doesn't have anything to do with you. That's their own struggle, and you'll never know what that's all about. How it causes them to feel watching you do you, what it triggers in them, what causes them to feel like they didn't have that opportunity. You shouldn't have that. Like, you'll never know other people's trauma unless they share it with you.
Exactly.
And it's not up to you to have to figure. Let's say, don't try to figure out nobody else is crazy. You don't have all the pieces, and that's above your pay grade. Especially if it's family, even as therapists, right? We don't even therapize our family.
We sure don't. Contrary to popular belief.
Come on, because don't they try? Oh, so you just what you doing? Don't be psychoanalyzing me. I'm like, first of all, it's psychoanalyzing.
Right.
Secondly, I'm off of work. third, it would be unethical. I'm not even there. And again, that's your thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's your projection and your assumption. I just came to see my cousin. How you doing, cuz?
Right.
You want to come over to where I live? Because I'm not coming over there. I don't live there no more. I definitely don't live there. I know.
I don't live there anymore.
I don't live there no more. Right? And I can honor who I used to be and not let you judge me by it. Yeah, I know I used to do that with you. Yeah, that's good. But I don't live there no more.
Yeah.
No, you can't shame me with that. No, yeah, that actually happened. All of that, just how you said it happened, it actually did. And I'm good. I don't live there no more. You can't. Yeah, it happened just like that. Yeah, I made some real bad choices in my survival mode, but I'm thriving now. I'm good. Yeah, that actually, I don't live there no more. And you might not see me like this. I might not live here next year either. So you better enjoy this version.
Right.
You better get it. Right. And so it's like, how do you just decide the experience that you want to have?
Yeah.
And then figure out what it's going to take in those experiences for you to have that. Because you're actually showing up for a particular reason. So how do you get clear on the reasons? I just want to play some spades with my cousins. I just want to hug my mom. I just want to eat that one specific dish. I want to watch my auntie do that little strut after she drank a little bit too much so I could laugh and just have okay, so you got your checklist. You got your motivations that are making you willing to show up. Once you do that, are you ready to go? At any point, can you abandon ship if it's not going to yield or be worth the reason why you wanted to do it? You get there and you go, nah, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to make it. I don't care how much you spent. I don't care how far you drove. I don't care what sacrifices that you made. Again, none of it will be worth what it costs you in the end.
Yes.
So how do you take care of you and recognize that no matter what you said, no matter what you had previously decided, no matter what you thought you were going to do before you got into that moment, you always have the right to do whatever you want to do to take care of you. So switch it up at any time. And I promise you that is going to far exceed any investment that you made on the front end. I promise you.
Yes. And I love that you're talking about like even the feelings that we have when we do change our address, right? Recognizing that we don't live in this place anymore and also accepting who we used to be, because when we go around like those old family members, sometimes people experience guilt.
Yes.
How do people manage that?
Well, what I say is recognize that you can be aware and not do the work at the same time. So I feel guilt around that thing. Okay, but I don't have to work on the guilt today. And I don't have to pull all the things up that are associated with the guilt. So that is an opportunity for you to realize when I leave the holidays, now that's the real resolution. When I leave the holidays, let me take what I learned in that moment and go do the work to heal that so I don't have to continue to suffer anymore. Because that actually lives in you. You're thinking that it's the family and what you got. No, they just triggered the wound that's already there. So how can you be aware? Oh, I got some work to do around that because I feel guilty. And one of the things that I love to tell my clients to kind of reframe guilt and shame and remorse and all those things, I'm like, you have to realize how arrogant it is to feel any of that. Because in order for you to feel that, that is your right now present self judging your past self for what it did to survive. In those versions of you, that was the best choice that you were able to make with the limited knowledge, access to people, money, education, whatever it was, right? With the limited support that you had, those were what you thought was the best choice at the time for whatever reason, because it fit the need. And the basic need is survival.
Yeah.
You looking at that, judging yourself today, when somehow the less networked, less resourced, less educated, less mature, younger version of you somehow still figured out how to deliver your arrogant little tale in this right now moment to yourself. And instead of giving grace and forgiveness and gratitude and healing, your function is to judge it and have shame and have guilt. Help me connect that dot. And that's when we get into the motivational interviewing, right? Because if you can suspend the judgment to reflect on what was I thinking in that moment? what was I doing in that moment? Not from a place of judgment, but from curiosity. All of a sudden, it makes sense. You would only have done what you thought was the best thing in that situation. Oh, so I lied in order to protect myself. I stole because I needed to eat, or because I was trying to fit in with everybody else. So you did all of these things for protection, and protection is always what we do for survival. Granted, it was not your finest hour, but it's the hour that figured out how to get you to this one. And this one allows you to be empowered by all of that in order to live the life that you want to live. Right. So you gonna judge when you was living in the basement, but now you up in the penthouse. But you want to judge your story instead of talk about how you survived it. So now you can thrive. And what do you want to do with all that you have, all this lived experience that becomes your qualification and your testimony to what is going to cause you to thrive and help other people do it too. Right. That's your wealth. That's your bag. Right. Like, you are your own biggest investment. You are the capital. You are your own ultimate currency. So, also walking into your family like you are the money and like they have value too helps that too. So you don't have to judge them for what they did or what they're currently doing to survive. You just got to decide you're on your own survival journey and I'm on mine.
And that's all it has to be.
That's all it has to be. We family, and recognize that people can't take care of you when they're in survival mode. And people can't love you. You can't demand that they love you a particular way when they're struggling to love themselves, right? Because people can't give you what they don't have. And sometimes they don't have it, and them not having it is what allowed them to survive to even get you to where you are, because they're part of your story. So sometimes I like to explain it like those video games, them war games, when like you're playing on teams and your person is dying and they're like, I'm over here. I need a leaf, or I need a spray. I need you to bring me back to life. And you're like, I can't, because I'm dying too. Like, I'm not going to make it to you. You can't help anybody when you're dying on the battlefield.
Come on.
Right? Sometimes you can only save yourself. So you also have to recognize what your limitations are. You walk into your family, recognize some folks is on life support, and some of them you might be able to help. But if real talk, you're on life support too, the hard part is you have to figure out, how do I take care of me? Because even me getting up to try to go take care of you means we both die. And vice versa. So you also can't get mad when somebody can't give you what they don't have to give away. Right. So it's just like all of these dynamics that are constantly swirling, and we just don't know what to do about it because nobody has ever really taught us. How do we look at the way our family is functioning and not functioning? And then when we get together, it just all plays out and we don't understand what's happening in the rooms.
And honestly, this is a great time to pass the collection plate, because you literally are preaching like somebody's pastor right now. I had a thought about the family dynamic. It was something that you said regarding like the functionality of it all, but it literally just left me. But I'm fine with it.
It's okay. I know it's a lot. Look, these are the kind of conversations that we could have for a lifetime, and they would still be so layered and ever evolving, because as people, we're ever evolving. But I think more than anything, where I would leave people with is just recognizing that it takes a collection of individuals to make a family. You start with your wellness, and then you pour as you are able to, and you don't determine your value or anybody else's based upon their ability to pour. Just recognize that we're all doing the best that we can. You can lean into the good on those days where it's bad or it's ugly. You can decide if that's the time or the place to get to it. And if it's not, there is always another time. So you take care of you take care of the folks you're responsible for, i.e. those kids, and you make sure that they get shielded and they don't become the consequence of the intergenerational trauma by getting bled on during the holidays. Everything else is just presence, literally and figuratively.
Yes.
Right. That's it.
Surviving the holidays 101 with Dr. Spirit. I'm here for it.
Let's get into it. Yes.
Dr. Spirit, where can the people find you and follow you and know some of the things that you got going on?
that's a great question. They tell me that I'm out here in these streets again. I didn't realize it, but I guess so. So, I may be coming to a city near you. But they can always find me on all of my social media, and I usually talk about what's going on. So, whether it's in country, out of country, whether you're trying to give, whether you need something, it takes all of it to make it go. So find me at Talk to Spirit everywhere. Just remember, man, I need to talk to Spirit. Talk the number 2 Spirit, and that is how you find me.
I'm here for it. Thank you so much, Dr. Spirit, for coming through.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime. And remember, you said coffee and you said world travel commitment. I got
coffee
you.
Coffee in Liberia is
Listen, while you playing, there's some good coffee over there. Mm-hmm.
I heard, and in Ethiopia. I'm trying to go. Listen, that might be our next coffee date.
It's on the
Africa
list.
Somewhere.
It's on the list. Okay. Y'all remember she said it. We're going to hold her to it.